Well, you made it easy to
Let's let
conquer, so we're gonna conquer.
let's let Ian go.
Well,
Hey, after Ian, we're gonna go to the Big Chief.
yeah, and look, this is a very interesting conversation that's bringing in a lot of different histories, emotions, right? Racial biases and animosities and all those things. And I mean, obviously, I sit here willing to, and not just willing to, but encouraged to come into these spaces, knowing that just because of the color of my skin or some of the things that I think, or the maybe the common enemy that I call out, that I'll take these slings and arrows. But folks, I believe that this is what has to happen. These are going to be uncomfortable realities, right? We are basically living amongst one another. Let's think of it as a cul-de-sac, right? We've all seen the cul-de-sac over the last 40 or 50 years go to shit, right? We can look back at the Cosby Show, which was a pretty reasonable reflection of the average nuclear middle class black family not all that long ago. And I see somebody down there laughing, but let's be real. That was a pretty reasonable presentation of what it was like to be a hardworking, individual with faith, with a good amount of prosperity. Now look at the average black family, if I can even call it that today. And I say that just because it's north of 85% of black children are now born with parents out of wedlock. And I'm not critiquing the black community. I'm saying that you guys have endured an awful amount of subversion and what I would loosely call torment, if not torture, right? So our cul-de-sac is all communally getting worse. And we can all look at each other and say, well, once upon a time, you had a bigger pool than me, or you had a bigger front porch, or whatever it is. Or we can recognize that everything is on fire. And they're bringing in more people into the cul-de-sac that are going to pour into the home next to you. And what does that mean? It means that the price of the homes that you might want to buy are going to go up. The wages that you're going to receive for the work that you do is going to go down. The schools, the hospitals, the roads, they're all going to get more and more cluttered, and they're going to get more and more destructive. The prosperity that we once knew as a people will go by the wayside. And we know this to be the case because we can look at the fact that it was just Bernie Sanders, a liberal Jew, oh, by the way, who just came out and said the average productivity of the American worker is up 400% over the last couple generations. 400%. You are generating far more money for your employers in the economy. And yet people can't afford anything. We can look at the numbers, and if we break it down via inflation, people today are spending more on their homes, their cars, their food than they were at the height of the Great Depression. And so we either sit around and we say, well, you know what? Like, I really dislike you because of this thing in the past, and you participate in this, and your great-great-great-grandfather might have looked at mine funny, right? Or we say, hey, all of those things don't matter if there is a dragon in the neighborhood that literally wants to destroy all of your prosperity. It wants to inject you with experimental drugs. It wants you to be slaves to systems to destroy your religion, your culture, your people, your prosperity, your families. It wants to turn your sons into women, your daughters into men. It wants to encourage them to basically go out and just become degenerates with alcoholism, resulting in suicide, or whatever these other things are. Like, it's time to look around and to say that everything is getting worse. We want it, of course, to get better. And I, as a white person, want it to get better for black people. I want it to get better for Indians and Hispanics and all these other things. But it's not going to unless we turn the tide on this machine. So we got to focus all of our efforts to demand that the politicians like Donald Trump, who said he's not even in office yet, and he's already said that Israel is the primary concern for the new administration, and that those that speak out against it on college campuses, that the U.S. government will take funding from those schools. Think about that for a moment. The president of the United States, who's going to make America great again, is going to send your money and your children off to fight a foreign war that will further impoverish their futures, while also telling you that it's now illegal, prospectively, to even criticize or critique that power structure. And if you don't believe me, look at who Donald Trump's Secretary of Homeland Security is going to be, which is Kristi Noem. And in her home state, she passed legislation that basically equates criticism of Jews to denial of the Holocaust, which could be listed as a crime. And if you don't believe that that could happen in the United States, then look over in Europe, where across a dozen plus countries, you can be sent to prison for denying that historical event. So it's time to wake up, folks, so that we can all stick together and we can say, I want things to get better for the collective, regardless of all the things that might have happened in the past. So with that, I'll relinquish.
We're gonna go to Big Chief next, and then God is good.
Hey, can you put me in there?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, shout out to you, 27. You finally did it, bro. You got you one of them. You got you one of them ones right here. Shout out to the co-host, all the rest of the family in here. Ian. My goodness, bro. The things you said a lot of per capita, a lot of construing of history, but this isn't an attack on you. This is going to be a history lesson because a lot of the things you've mentioned have been happening to the Black community since y'all been coming over here. They've been underfunding our schools, which y'all are starting to see. They've been putting these immigrants, including y'all in our areas, that y'all are starting to feel the grunt of. A lot of these policies that was written to keep my community impoverished is starting to trickle over to y'all. And the reason why we see this workforce or this increase to 400% and you don't see that wealth growth is because the cost of living supersedes the minimum wage of pay, which a lot of people, including your community, has been complaining about to this government, but yet and still we see them turn down raising minimum wage and they will turn around and backdoor all of themselves wage increases. That's neither here or there, but that's just speaking towards one of your issues. Another thing that you spoke on is at least 75% Black Americans that are married, you know what I'm saying, being Black American fathers being the most involved in in the house. This has been recent studies as of last year. You can laugh all you want. This is recent. Now, since you love numbers and per capita, you can look that up.
You know that's ridiculous.
Hold up, nah, shut up. I ain't interrupt you. Because my little boy and my other son, who's on his way to college after this by this summer, is under the same roof as me.
And that's great.
All of that, hold on, shut up, brother, because I ain't interrupt you. So please, and I was respectful to everybody else. So when it comes to a lot of these laws that was written to either segregate us, keep our education subpar, to which I love to claim that we are ignorant on when we have the most patents in this country, not including all of the hundreds of thousands that were stolen from my community. Now, we were talking about being American, right? You don't know what that means. And this is being spoken to all of white America that aren't Anglo-Saxon, and even to them, because I still consider them immigrants as well. If you are not of the original people, including those Native Americans that y'all love to say is the original people, no, they have a migration story and they speak of the people that they met when they came here. I'm in Oklahoma City, right in the heart of where all of them motherfuckers congregated to, on top of making our people leave our areas to come to here. And they will tell you where they're from and they know who they are. Now, it's the delusion of everybody else that wants to continue to feed into this McGraw-Hill education that was created by Jews, sponsored by the Rockefellers. If you don't know history, you would know that. Same thing with dealing with these companies that was created in the earlier days to put people in debt. We might have known them as U.S. Trade, but now they're known as Saks Fifth, Wells Fargo. We have a lot. We could go down that list of all of these companies that we know owe Black America. Y'all want us to be specific on who we're going after? We're going after these legacy companies. We're going after this government and these families that may be heavy hitters in this country. If you got some kind of trust or something that we could find a paper trail going back to those plantations and your family have any kind of ties to it, then you should be worried because you will be sued. That don't mean that all of y'all are going to be sued, because like y'all love to say, oh, we wasn't here, we ain't got nothing to do with it. All right, well, shut the fuck up. When that road when that path cross, then you get worried.
Okay,
But as
cool.
far as my
Real.
that was you, 27?
Yeah, that's me. My bad. Yeah.
I can't run it a little. I just started to.
So
you good.
this wait,
What's up?
yeah,
What's up? What'd you say?
I'm about to say, damn, I'm being told to land, and I ain't. I see what it is.
Hey, brother, I got no. You good?
Yeah.
You don't got to go. No, we're trying to get to the hands, gang. You know, A lot of
I,
shit
I
going
get
on.
that, but people was going there. All right, bro.
20.
All right, I'm
My,
gonna just
wait a
How come
minute.
every
No,
time I
no,
say
nothing.
anything about
Wait,
anybody,
no,
how come
no.
everybody always got an issue whenever I tell niggas, goddamn, just be like,
Hey,
damn.
I went on my
So we
mic,
need to
bro.
tell Ian to land it too when he's supposed to. He
Right,
keep
because
going and on and
I
on
ain't
and
getting
on. I
nobody
mean, what
get
are we
cut
talking
off.
about?
That's why I'm like, damn. But I got you,
Okay.
27, bro. It
Nobody,
is what
nobody,
it is,
nobody's
man.
cutting you
You
off, brother.
got it.
Okay, let's go to
I just, yeah,
God is good.
Okay, I appreciate it. I ain't gonna spend a whole lot of time up here. I'm gonna be very brief. I want to address uncommon and essentially some of the things that Ian was saying. So there was a phrase, Africa for the African, which came out of Martin or Delaney, who was the father, really the founding father of Black nationalism. Since this is a Black nationalist space, I think we should honor the founding father of Black nationalism, and that is Martin or Delaney. However, someone earlier said that Malcolm X was a Back to Africa guy, and that is completely false. Completely false, and I want to make it very clear because Malcolm, during his time on the planet, actually sat down and met with white nationalists to discuss separation. There is no unification of Black American Negro descendants and the European. There never has been, there never will be. We've been sold integration, we've been sold the fantasy of integration, but the reality is we've never actually been integrated. Uh, Europeans simply integrated our money into their banks, the same way that they looted the Freedmen's Bureau that had enormous sums of wealth coming out of enslavement. Um, let me find this note that I want to really focus on. So immigration, and this is very important because this was never really a white nation. In fact, it was always 1790 Naturalization Act, right after the Constitution was ratified. They created a system to bring in more white people. And so it has always been that they've been able to get more and more Europeans to come into the country. Immediately after the Civil War, 12 to 15 million Europeans came in. The turn of the century, another 30 plus million Europeans came in. And since that time, they have been able to successfully bring in more Europeans to prop up their numbers and keep the population at these percentage levels. The problem is they can no longer do that because the European countries are starting to have these declining birth rates, and they're simply not desirous of coming to America anymore. So their real problem is not so much that immigration is an issue, because they never had a problem with immigration for the last 150 to 200 years,
Right.
because it was always European. Now they have a problem because it's these other demographic groups, and they're looking at the future projections, and it's not looking great for them. The conversation between Black Americans who do think in terms of nationalism and white Americans who think in terms of nationalism is the balkanization of the United States, the separation of the races into majority state populations. The Mexicans control 5 states in the Southwest. Black Americans have always maintained a majority population in the Southeast. In fact, in 1860, we were the majority population in 5 to 7 states, well above 40%, and in some of those states above 50%. So that's another fallacy that I wanted to
Okay.
kind of crush.
Cool.
So I'll land with that. I'll land with
Okay.
that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Captain Tazaryach.
yeah, I appreciate it. Whenever I hear these white nationalists talk, they always try to appeal to um, a so-called united front against Jewish people. That's really what it comes to. Every time one second, every time I debate them, battle them, okay, they always bring up Jewish people this, Jewish people that, and that's just a sect of white people that just think they're better than another sect of white people. And history has a way of teaching us great lessons. So he came in here and said, we got this dragon in the middle of us, so we got to separate our issues so that we can defeat this dragon. That's the lie that they told us since the Revolutionary War. The Revolutionary War, niggas fought for America, and in that third Star Spangled Banner, the third verse that they take out, talk about how they made fun of us for fighting them. What did we gain after that Revolutionary War was over? Nothing. Civil War, what did we gain? Nothing. It's always the white man coming and hustling us and making us believe that the enemy of my enemy is my friend, not understanding the enemy of my enemy will always be the enemy. And white people love to seduce and say, hey man, we really got to fight against the Jewish man. They taking the shit. When it was Jewish people, and that since y'all like to separate them, I don't separate them. They're all white people to me. But Jewish people and white
I think
people,
that's the problem, bro. That's the problem right there.
if I could just speak
Yeah,
without
yeah. I'm
being
sorry. Go ahead.
interrupted, you can
Go
address
ahead
the
and finish.
problem
Go ahead and
afterwards.
finish. But I want to address what you
Jewish
said.
people and white people had slaves. The banks, insurance companies, all that shit started with the transatlantic slave trade, and it was a joint effort by Jewish whites, Spaniard whites, European whites, any other type of white you want to think about. And we always lose. So do not let no white man come in here and think that this white man is going to be his enemy, excuse me, his enemy against you, so y'all can defeat that dragon. Because soon as that dragon is defeated, you're going right back to the plantation. I yield.
So I just want to address Miss Sally. You
Uh,
said, oh,
go
go ahead.
ahead.
Yeah, I have to address it, man. And then by the way, I'm gonna go to Colin next. But the you can't just look at Jews and whites as just the same. This is problematic, especially like with what's going on right now. Like the Kalergi plan is in full effect. Anybody that doesn't know what the Kalergi plan is or the Kalergi plan, it's literally like the Jewish plan to eradicate the white race from America and Europe, like through like things I mentioned earlier, race mixing, promotion, integration, multiculturalism, multi mass immigration, legal and legal. Pushing interracial couples amongst everybody. That's how they do it. And like Comey was just saying earlier, that's also bad for blacks as well. Blacks are already like what 13% of the population. They're gonna race mix themselves really like into nothingness. So it's the same thing that's gonna happen with the whites. It's just gonna be like one big unidentified blob of brown. So this is just the thing. So this you can't really just look at Jews and whites as the same because what the thing is, the Jews do not race mix with anyone else. They stay within their own communities. They integrate, they segregate from all of us. They don't go to the same schools. They don't use the same hospitals. In fact, they don't even participate in the census because they don't have to identify as fucking
Oh
Jews.
my gosh. Can I please respond to
Yeah,
some
yeah,
of
hold on.
this?
It's
Hey,
we.
wait,
We
Reb,
we,
can I
we, we
just say,
can't we can't put
can
this
I
on
just
No,
say
all
30
I
Jews.
seconds?
Like
said
this
it's
is
not all
bullshit.
Jews, bro. No, it's not all Jews, but they don't They don't participate in the census. They don't have to identify as their ethno-religious identity. We don't really know how much they are of the population. Some people say it's 2%. It might be
And I could
fucking
say the
20.
same thing for the black community,
Hey, can
right?
I
We're
take
It
30
might be.
undercounted.
seconds just to respond to what he
Yo,
said,
yo,
and then
yo.
I'll be done?
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm just saying, bro. Listen, you can't just look at them all as the same. Because
Yeah.
listen, when it comes down to it, the Jews identify as white when it benefits them, right? When it benefits them, but when it no longer benefits them, they're a
Okay,
Jew.
you're just
Ask Ben
Yeah, you.
Shapiro. Ben,
Lord.
Rio, please. I'm gonna let you go, bro. But I'm gonna let Colin go next. After I just wanted to.
Wait, can
No,
I just
wait,
take
hold
30
on,
seconds?
Taz. Go ahead. Go
Yeah,
let
I'm gonna let
Tazara,
Tazarian.
go
Yeah, I'm
ahead.
gonna let
Thank you.
Tazarian respond.
And-
Okay, thank you. You just windmilled off the whole fucking point just now. Whether Jews identify as white or white identify as Jews was irrelevant to the point that I made. The point that was being made was this white man coming in here saying that the Jewish man is the dragon that we got to join forces to fight against. And my point is, we shouldn't trust neither one of them. And I gave historical references that you didn't respond. And I feel like you did it on purpose so everybody could
I
figure out
mean,
all
I
the
mean,
information so we could talk about Jews being white or not. What the fuck does that even matter? I clearly said that Jews, the Spaniards, and European whites collectively had a hand in the transatlantic slave trade. One of the first Klan members was a Jewish man in North Carolina, and you chose to highlight Jewish people not being white instead of us falling for the banana in the tailpipe with the Revolutionary War reference, the Civil War reference, and every other time we joined to them. That's a stepping fetch it ass response that you just
And so let
gave.
me sum it
I
up,
yield.
right?
no, well,
Meaning
no,
I'm gonna have a zero net. It's gonna be real
Hold on.
quick.
You just gonna hold on. There was another hand before you, but I was going to, and you just gonna say, let's you sum it up. I appreciate him responding. I was just addressing. I wasn't trying to like not address what you said. Maybe I don't have the knowledge of those particular points you made to address it. But I wasn't just trying to dismiss any of that. Just to let you know, I heard all of that. Maybe there's other people who are more knowledgeable about that who can speak upon those things. And by the way, I can't speak for Black Americans, right? My people like aren't like indigenously from here, right? So I can't speak for that population. Okay, so I'm gonna pass it to Colin.
So wouldn't you be part of that erasure you're talking
Yeah,
about?
thanks, official. So, this is gonna touch on the specific topic that we were just speaking about, actually, in terms of the, whether or not Jews are white, or whether, what makes white, right? And also what makes black, or
Hey, you're breaking. Hey, Colin, you're
I
breaking up a
told
tad
y'all
bit.
now they're gonna go into what makes white
Hold
white.
on, Brad.
The national.
Yo, guys, don't interrupt. Colin, you're breaking up just a tad bit. Just fix your connection for me. And guys, please don't interrupt. And if nobody interrupts y'all, please show them the same respect. Thank you.
Yeah, don't come up hating, throwing the shit off, gang. We'll just drop you down type shit. We good. We've been vibing. Keep the shit, copacetic. Hey, what's up, Based? Is dude Mike okay? Calling.
What's up, man? Can
Yeah,
you
yeah,
hear me?
yeah. It's Colin. Yeah, go ahead.
After Carlin, let Base go.
I heard.
all right, is my connection a little better here?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds better.
All right, cool. So, Mark had actually brought up this point. He is on the panel. Sorry, I thought he had left. So he had mentioned this, and I think this is a really important part to touch on because it kind of answers the question that we're sort of asking here about whether or not Jews are white and things like this. So he had mentioned that there's no such thing as white. There's genetic, there's Italians, there's Germans, there's Irish, there's English, right? Okay, so I mean, but then there's such thing as black, all right? But using that logic, it doesn't really compute. If you were to use that logic, you would also have to say that there's no such thing as black, given how much given the fact that Africa is the most genetically diverse continent in the world, right? You've got some of the tallest populations in Africa, and you've also got the shortest population in Africa, for example, just to name one of the genetic diversities, right? So whenever we say white, we're speaking specifically about the whole of the white European genetic diversity, all right? The same way that when you say black, you're speaking about the whole African genetic diversity,
No.
right? So that logic doesn't really compute. So whenever we get into this topic, we're talking about the genetics of people, not necessarily the skin color, right? And so this is where the difference between Jews and white people come, okay? Jews, Ashkenazi, Sephardic, and the other types, Mizrahi as well, are all very much genetically different from any other white European groups. Okay, the only similarity that we have with them is that we have white skin. Okay, that's the only difference, or the only similarity rather. We have different facial structure. We've got different genetics. We've got basically every difference you can name in the book except for the skin color, right? So whenever we're talking about what makes someone white, what makes someone Jewish, what makes someone Asian, and then all of the different Asian diversities in there, right? We're talking about their genetics, not their skin color. This is an important distinction to make, right? As far as slavery goes, yeah, the whites had a hand in slavery as well as Spaniards, et cetera, and other blacks as well. Let's not forget all of the East Africans that shipped over a whole bunch of black people into Brazil, and then they shipped them north. No white Brazilians were doing that slave trade, right? So let's remember this whenever we're talking about who had what hand in what. Okay, there is a difference between all of these genetic peoples, right? On top of that, the per capita ownership of slaves amongst white people was much lower than Jews. We're also not the ones that shipped any blacks over, right? So we have to remember this whenever we're talking about who should be at fault for slavery in general. But then let's talk about who ended the slavery, right? It's always a topic that's completely glazed over whenever I hear a lot of black people talking about this, right? Whites are the ones that ended it in the first place. The French ended it first, and then the English, right? And then the Americans ended it in 1813. So let's not forget this, all right? It's very important to understand that there's genetic distinctions. The Jews look at us as different. They look at you as different, all right? The one thing that we can say, however, is that they all look at us as goy, all right? They all look at us as goyim, non-Jew, right? That's the only thing that you need to remember. So while you're blaming Whitey for all of these problems, understand that Whitey doesn't blame you for any of them, okay? And I'm not suggesting that we necessarily work together. I support, exchange of information whenever it comes to this topic. But, like I think it was the great, what's his name? The great debate had said, balkanization is really the only solution to this whenever it comes to the United States, at least. As far as European countries go, all non-whites must leave those countries, period, right? But as far as America goes, balkanization will be the solution. There's not going to be any sort of real working together or anything like that. That's against natural law, against natural order, and it simply won't work. So at the end of the day, when we're having these conversations, you have to actually come up and think about solutions that are actually going to work instead of thinking of pie in the sky dreams, such as reparations, for example. It's not going to happen, right? Us white people are never, ever going to pay those reparations to you guys. It just is what it is, right? We will
Man,
die
Can I
drop
before
it.
we do
respond
that.
before
So it
y'all
is what
like?
it is. Sorry, what was that,
Yeah.
Cultivate?
Go ahead,
Listen,
re-up.
how he
Thank
get
you.
to do this
Bet,
long-winded shit when
bet.
the brother
Oh
speaking
yeah.
and he
Oh,
cut
it's
off?
good. I got all this.
Yeah,
See,
you're done. You're
this is
done
what's wrong with
speaking.
America, and we're talking about.
I am? Or
Yeah,
just
just
asking
mute
you a
up.
question?
We're talking about nationalism, right? And I got a bunch of funky ass first and say, and I'm gonna get disrespectful with it too.
Wait. We don't got to do all that.
All right, I keep
We
it
don't
for
got to
you,
do all
my
that
brother.
at
For you,
all.
my bad. I got a bunch
Okay.
of
Hurry up, you better than
okay.
that.
I'm gonna be better than that. And I have a bunch of people who have just gotten here freshly to the country talking about nationalism, right? When you're bringing your balkanization and shit that happened in your country that respectfully your parents fled from, right? You're not qualified to have this conversation about my history, about how the inner workings of it, the nuances of America, but you want to come and give your advice. Just be happy you're here and you're surviving. Sit your punk ass down somewhere and get out of this nationalism conversation. If your family ain't been here longer than at least 3 generations, I'm hearing a bunch of punk ass complaining from Ian. Your grandfathers would be ashamed. They wouldn't have handled shit like this a couple generations ago. You got tricked again. That's all it is. You don't know what your ethnicity is because that race shit, throw it out the window. 90% of Jews still classify as white and they know their ethnicity and they play on it on y'all, right? Change your laws. You getting played right now while you sitting here complaining. You getting out lobbied. You getting while you sitting on the app, Jew blaming.
And so are you, by the
But I'm
way.
not though, because I'm still winning,
No, you
right?
Mute
are.
your
The
mic.
whole
Mute your
ship is
mic.
You're
sinking.
Mute your
That's the
mic,
sir,
wild
dude.
part.
sir. So to finish up, and I'm gonna land right here. While you want
Yeah,
me
and
to
after that
join
is base.
forces with you and slay this dragon, remember, which is gonna take a while, I'm gonna be dead ass broke, no net wealth in 30 years. But y'all don't care about that because as soon as we done slaying the dragon 25 years, it's gonna go back to business as usual. Fuck you, nigger. You get your IQ up. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps when your families did it. 90 million of you, and I'm gonna land right here. White Americans, didn't say Jews or nobody else. White Americans can trace your wealth back, immigrants, to just the Homestead Act alone. Let's talk about the rest of the legislation that y'all can trace your wealth back. Fuck this. Pay
Yeah,
me.
all
Ba-
right. Yeah,
base,
yeah. I want to say something
base.
too, man, real quick. This here's challenges that we're gonna have here, with the title. Just challenges. Like subservience. There's people that are often, fine with being ruled over, by Jewish domination, as long as like they're getting paid and they're getting whatever, whoever it is. And another thing is this utter hatred, whether hatred for white from blacks or hatred for blacks from whites, where both are willing to watch the ship go down so they can laugh as people are going down with it. And I
Can I,
You're an
can I
immigrant.
say
and
something?
Stand
Can I
and
down.
say
I and
something?
I
Wait,
and
wait.
I
Can
and
I
I
say
think
something?
and I,
It's cool with the whole. Can I just say something,
yeah,
please?
yeah, but we
Like
got to get the
when y'all
base.
say
We got to get the
when
base
you say
though.
that, I won't be
Nope,
that long.
nope,
I
nope.
won't be that long.
Tazaryach, hold on a minute. Tazaryach is going to speak because he's actually sitting your seat
Okay,
usually.
respect,
So
So
respect,
go
respect.
ahead, Tazaryach.
I appreciate that. So what I want to say is, and this is what I said, the white nationalist is hijacking the conversation. And what he's doing in this conversation is what you can expect after you if you decide to help him slay the dragon. This I didn't speak from no hate position. I spoke from a fact position. And I spoke from after the Revolutionary War was over and blacks people fought in that military against the Britons so that America could be America. When the rockets red glare and the 4th of July came, was we free or did we go back to being slaves? We went back to being slaves. So although we put aside and let the enemy of my enemy be my friend, we gained nothing. When Civil War was over, and then now we build in our cities, we get bombed, we get aircraft, whatever. What white do you want to blame it on? So what I spoke about because what the white nationalist wants us to do is to trust that if we join him and side on his side with this enemy, we're going to gain in the long run. History does not teach us that. If I was to use the Negro League as an example, when R.A. Dickey, the owner of the Brooklyn Dodgers, wanted to destroy the Negro League, he said he was going to use integration against us. So that whenever they would take the best players, the Jackie Robinson, the Satchel Pages, the Josh Gibson, and we fought it, he would say, well, y'all want to integrate. And there ain't no Negro League team that was absorbed into Major League Baseball. But when the ABA and NBA merged and they dissolved the ABA, they absorbed some of the ABA teams into the NBA. So when you say join this and y'all want to make turn this into some old hate shit, no. This is a very logical thinking of every time we trusted your mouth, you have lied. We have failed. And so how long should we trust you? Or should we both see the dragon that you say is the enemy? Facts. A Jewish man can be the enemy, but you're also the enemy. So if both of
Okay.
y'all are enemies, what can we do outside of that?
Ian.
Thank you.
And yeah, Ian, I guess you can respond, and we'll go to base after that.
I mean, look, all I would say in response is Colin came up and gave a very calm very reasoned, emotionless presentation of his ideas. The individual that followed then came up rather maniacally and unhinged, saying, "I'm not being hateful, but I'm being,"
I'm
and
black.
it was, it was clearly, it was exactly the emotionally and kind of hate filled,
Just
or at
attack
least
the point.
motivated.
Come on,
Let's
Galen.
let's ad
Well,
hominems
no,
attack the
hang on.
point.
I am attacking your point by illustrating the very thing that you were suggesting that we are being when we're sitting here and suggesting unity. And you're saying, no, 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 no. And you're getting all emotionally unhinged, right? We are the
So wait a
we
minute,
are the
wait, wait,
ones that
wait,
are
Ian,
reaching.
no, no, no.
Cultivating. Stay
I cannot
cultivating.
allow
Stay
you.
out of
No,
that.
no,
Stay
no.
out of
That's bullshit,
stay
though.
out of
There's a
that.
reason. Wait,
Stay out of
there's a
that.
reason why
Stay out of
Riak
that. Bro, I'm
acted the
about to
way
do it.
he
I'm
did.
about to do
He
it.
mentioned,
I'm about to do it.
yo,
I'm about to do
he
it. Stay
mentioned
out
the
of that. Stay
fucking
like literally,
reparation.
dude, stay out of that, gang. Stay out of that.
Okay, so
What are
then
you
if
doing?
But does everyone listening see who is getting emotional and unhinged in this
So
engagement?
it doesn't matter. Just attack the point, right? You
Well,
can shame
I
later.
am
so
You
attacking
what
the
can
point,
shame
which is
later, right?
if I could,
I don't care about all
what
that.
he's doing now, this is what we call the male Karens. Emotional and facts. You can speak passionate about something and still be facts. I didn't call nobody no cracker, no honky. That's emotionalism. But speaking with authority is not emotionalism because you haven't responded to every time we trusted fighting with the white man would benefit us and it failed us. You haven't touched that because there's facts that you can't get around. So what do? You say, I'm not, he talked calm, he talked this way, he talked that way to throw everybody off because to present us as the angry black man, this is what white nationalists do.
But
They present us as this
Tazari,
angry black man
Tazari,
to make us seem like we can't speak intelligent.
Tazari,
But everything that I said is true.
so why do you keep calling me the white nationalist if
Tazari,
I'm the white guy in the
Tazari.
black space
Excuse
trying
me, Ian.
to call for unity? Can you explain that?
Tazari,
The reason
Tazari.
why I'm saying that, so
Yeah, all
Can
right,
y'all
guys.
hear me?
Hold
I
on.
don't
Y'all
We
have.
hear
got
me?
three. We got three mics open. I did. We the 27 called on base a long time ago, and base hasn't spoken yet. I just want to make that be clear. But Mark said it looks like he's trying to pass on to Tazarian. I don't want to interrupt and be muting guys. I want the conversation to flow. Like we do got 20 requests. A lot of them that
And it has been flowing. We do got 20
yeah.
requests, so if you're not talking, drop down type
Yeah,
shit. But
and there's some people that haven't spoken yet. Some people that I like to.
Stand down, official. Let 27 get that.
Yeah, yeah. Let's.
Hey,
I was actually
I'm
trying to
fine with not.
respond
If
to
y'all need other
Tazari.
voices, that's cool. But when you say why would I respond to the nationalists trying to come into a black space to work out something? If I was using biblical lens, it says his words were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. And so I can only give my black history of us trusting this good white man that has good intentions. And that's what you're presenting to me. But history tells me every time we've trusted you, we have gotten the bottom of the stick. So when I'm speaking to you, and you should, here's what I would respect more, and this is how I know you're not sincere. I would respect more if you at least acknowledge that. If you at least acknowledge and say, you know what, that part of history, you right. We did do this, we did do that. But I would propose that we do something different, even if it's not true. But you haven't even acknowledged the historical points that I brought out. Instead, you try to make it seem like I'm loud, I'm rude. I don't want to let this white guy come in here and talk into space to paint a narrative that I'm not painting. I've sat here and listened to what you said, and I responded to your points. I didn't
Yes.
make no
Hey,
false.
brother Tazari. Listen, bro. He's a guest in your country. You don't owe him no explanation. He gonna follow. That's it ain't about no trust. It's business. It's the business of this country. And that's where y'all get it mixed up. You get emotional about whether they you should trust them or not. It ain't got nothing to do with trust.
It's
It's
not
business.
emotional to
Listen,
Business.
man.
bro.
When y'all keep talking
Listen to
about
me,
this
bro.
emotional, when
Just
y'all keep talking
listen to
about
me.
this if you didn't
He
Calm
he
down, bro.
wasn't talking about you
I'll,
either,
Calm down.
Cap.
All right, guys. All right, real quick. I've been giving co-host. I'm gonna do this. I don't want to call off to Zaria because I know he's also a co-host here, but I want to get the base. Is that cool with everybody? We get the base because 27 called on him a
yeah,
while ago.
do your thing,
All right.
brother. Do your thing.
Y'all good?
I just
We good?
quickly respond. Just quickly respond because what we miss in these conversations is a lot of
Look like I don't know what happened. Base, go ahead.
All right. So that was a really good point about stop making it personal. This is about business because that's really what America has been and is supposed to be is about people coming and trying to make a life for themselves. Um, and look, I'll go ahead and acknowledge all the bullshit that white people have done in the past because it's true, most of it, and it's terrible. But look, you keep using history in the past as a reason not to trust me as a white person, but when have you ever trusted me personally? When have I ever talked to you in my life? Never. And so you can say you can't trust me because every time in the past I've trusted you, you've let me down, but I've never let you down, never met you before. So to say that we can't trust a white person because white people have treated black people badly in the past is just it's not productive. And let's talk about the history because yeah, even though there was a lot of terrible things happening in this country to black people from white people, this has been a battle from the beginning of our nation between white people is whether slavery should exist or not. And it was white Christians who set the seeds of freedom in this nation. And if you look at the Three-Fifths Compromise, for example, whenever they were starting they were writing up the Constitution, the Three-Fifths Compromise to give only 3/5 of a person worth to slaves when they were doing the census. And why was that? Because they wanted to use the slaves to pack the House and their representatives so that the South could have more representation based off of people who weren't either paying taxes, they weren't even being represented. So you had a battle at the very beginning where we had white people, because guess what? No black person signed the Constitution. And white people were saying, no, we don't want slavery. We're not going to live in a nation with slavery. But our nation would have never come together, unfortunately, if it didn't, if we didn't
Okay,
compromise.
okay, babe. I get you, brother. Let's go to uh sexy rather than one
Yeah.
tribe, then great debate, then God.
Good evening, 27K. Look at you. You got the black nationalists, white nationalists in the room tonight. But anyway, what I want to say is this is deeper than just um trusting someone, right? From where I'm at and what we're experiencing now, the universe is changing. There are some things that have to be righted because some individuals have been given a lot of time to right their wrongs, and they've been persistent in not doing that, even though they are very much aware of the atrocities and the things they've been doing to the founding population of Americans. I want to know how many of these individuals in this space are WASP or Mayflowers, or all of you immigrants. Can I get a show a thumbs up of how many of you are WASP or Mayflowers? Y'all seeing any? Y'all seeing any wasps or Mayflowers? Okay, this is the people that we need to be talking to and teaming up with because they are the founding population or settlers of enslavers that we need to be talking to. The immigrants aren't going to do anything. They don't have any power. That's why they're saying, oh, the Jews did it to you. The Jews did it to you. No, it was the whites and the Jews, and it's the wasp and the Mayflowers. So that's what I came up to say. When I'm with the wasp and the Mayflowers, the original authentic Americans like me that enslaved my ancestors, that have to right a wrong, then we know we're in the right space and talking to the right people to make sure we save America. And I'll land it there.
Amen.
Yeah, I just
National,
Amen,
and that
sis.
sounds like
Uh,
yeah,
nationalism.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
one
yeah. Real quick,
one tribe.
yeah. Can I just want to throw in
Yeah, go
want
ahead,
to throw in
Dre.
the fact that at the height of slavery in America, 80% of slave owners were ethnically Jewish. The first group to monopolize sugar, cotton, and tobacco in America.
They got you down that
They,
rabbit
they,
hole
they were they were
officially.
the
I
Jews.
know.
They were the
Right.
Jews.
That was just their religion. That was just their religion. You know what I'm saying?
I
They come
told
from
y'all they
places.
would do that. Told you it's gonna.
No. That's just that that was their religion. They come from the same caves of Europe. Don't separate them in that
I
way.
mean,
There's other ways to
I
separate. There's other ways to separate. Listen, bro.
you
There's
can
other ways to
separate them by
separate.
how Jews killed Jesus
They
and killed Christians
no.
as well.
What she's speaking on is the beginning of America. Those that came before slavery. Those that had us enslaved. See, y'all ain't learned how to keep these motherfucking immigrants in their place. Now, this is the business of it. Get out of y'all racism bag when y'all talk to them. And I'm talking to y'all as Black Americans. You talk business with them. And when you speaking on business, they know their place. Stop talking to them like they are the descendants of slave owners. You talk to them no different than you talk to these Africans on this app or the Mexicans on this app. I don't give a shit where he come from. Ireland, Italy, they came here starving like dogs and we fed them. And you make them respect that you fed them. Just like that Zionist that we freed from Hitler, that our great uncles freed from Hitler, you don't allow them to say what they want to say out of their mouth. You freed them, they didn't free you. And now when we move forward, those that are original to America, they ain't got no choice but to get on board with reparations. I'm not listening to what no goddamn immigrant that came after slavery is saying. Fuck what he's saying. He gonna follow. If he owns some America First stuff, he gonna follow. If he on immigrant first, he the enemy and must be treated like the enemy. He ain't got no numbers over here. He ain't white. Stop letting him call himself white. Because when you delineate their groups, all of them got little 1% and 2% here and there. He just talking loud. He ain't been smacked in his mouth. That's all. I'm talking about mentally. He ain't been smacked in his mouth. Keep him in his place, bro.
Hey, let me
You
try to.
God in this
I'm
country.
about.
You as Black American, you God in this country. You created all inventions. You created the system of America. Don't allow nobody to come here after slavery and tell you shit. You keep his
Yeah.
ass over in his corner like we got. That's why we segregated in Chicago, bro. Because everybody, you know what I'm saying? We some racist motherfuckers here. We don't like each other. And we'll fuck them Irish up, them Jews, and all of them when we get ready. Anytime we get ready. The Mexicans, all of them. They stay in their place. They know who's God, who God over here. Do y'all know that y'all God?
Hey, let me dumb it down what I'm saying because I think nobody understands what history lessons are for. History lessons are for to learn from them. It ain't this. It so the greatest history lesson to learn all that stuff he said that we built, and we built America and we built this. We wasn't intelligent enough to see it taken from us after we built it. So now, no matter who you work with, if you make the same mistakes that you did from the
You better
past, they gonna
business.
take your shit again. That's the anybody listening to me with an intelligent fucking mind will know that that's what I'm saying. But since you didn't, and y'all want to resort to my tone and hate and I ain't say nothing racist at all. Historical information that the truth can never be considered disrespect. And the truth is truth. And so if you do the same thing the Negro League, R.A. Dickey gonna come and take your shit. Even the mother, it was the Queen Mother that was a proponent for integration. Then she said she realized how slow she was because she put her trust in the deal that she thought she made with them, they would uphold it. So the lessons we supposed to learn is if you're doing business with them, do not think that it's a possibility that they gonna backdoor you because we've been backdoored since we've been here. What is the reputation of doing a deal with anybody, and then we've benefited after the deal was done? And if we don't have that, then stop telling me that I can't tell
Hey,
people.
brother, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you one question?
Yeah,
You been in the streets before?
yeah.
If I backdoor you in the streets, what you gonna do?
I wouldn't answer that question on the live.
Real quick.
Yeah, and that's where the problem comes
Mhm.
in. That's where the problem comes in. You want to soften it up
Mm-mm.
because you're on the
No, I
app.
said I
I
Mm-mm.
wouldn't
told you
answer
you're a
that question.
soldier.
Wait, one
I'm gonna
second. Let me
kill
let me
your
tell you
ass. Do
what.
you
Wait, let
understand?
me
I'm
tell
gonna
you
kill
why I
your
wouldn't
ass.
answer
Real
that.
quick, man. Yeah, only because the feds came to my door before. It's for entertainment, educational purposes only. Nothing I say or anything else, anyone else on this panel says to reflect the views of anyone else, host, co-host, anyone else in the audience. And anything I say is for entertainment, educational purposes only. And I do not hate Jews, and I don't think all Jews are bad. And but by the way, to Tazaryach. Colin says that he has something that you might like where y'all can find common ground. I didn't necessarily agree with his. I mean, hey, if he's speaking from a white perspective, as if they feel like they don't want to pay reparations, and somebody has to, right? And I think that should be the Jews. And that's just my contribution right there. But Colin, you say you had.
But he has no position on whether reparations are paid or
Yeah,
not. That's not his
I mean,
conversation.
I understand that, but well, no, hold on. I was just saying like somebody has to pay it. So I'm saying like I think the Jews should
But I'm
pay it.
saying to you, the guy that spoke,
I'm saying the
he's a
Jews should pay
guest
it.
in your
This is
country.
my.
He, he's a guest in
What
your
guy you
country. It's
talking
No,
not
no,
about?
his
this isn't
business.
my country.
What guy you talking about?
Colin,
The Ian,
Colin.
Ian,
Okay, okay.
Ian is a guest.
No, no, well,
He has no
I'm
say
not
in
talking about
this.
Ian. I'm talking about. Well, listen. I'm not.
It's
I
such a
don't care which
laughable
one of it
comment to
is.
make.
Hold on,
It
guys. Hold
really
on, hold on,
is.
hold on, hold on. Hold on. To Tazaryach, Colin wants to respond to some like he has. That's why I brought him back up. I'm not talking about like this. Is all I'm saying. Yeah, y'all go ahead.
Yeah, so the point I was making earlier, right, about balkanization and things like this, to Zaryak, okay, I actually agree with you in this. I don't think that you should trust us to, make any deals, and I don't think that we should trust you to make any deals either, right? I think that that would be
Exactly.
against natural law, all right?
That ain't where
I
business goes.
Yeah, one
And
sec.
trust
Let,
the
let,
brother.
let me finish the point real quick, Mark. All right. So the point I was making is that, I mean, I'm all for exchanging information, about the Jews and about history and things like this. That's fine. But I don't want to work together. I'm for you guys to have your black nationalism. All right. I don't think that's not what I'm suggesting. Working together to solve each other's, you have different problems in the black community caused by Jews and other things, and we have different problems in the white community caused by Jews and other things, right? I'm not in any shape or form making a suggestion that we form some sort of coalition to go fight Jews together. That's not what I'm suggesting. Like I said, sharing information is one thing. Educating each other on what we think might need to be educated on is also another thing. But to working together is not what I'm suggesting. That would never work. I'm in 100% agreement with you with that. You shouldn't trust us, and we shouldn't trust you for this. There's a reason that natural law exists, right? So that's number one. All right. Maybe
Just
you'll
one
agree
quick
with that.
correction.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, just one quick correction. It ain't about whether we should trust you or not. But trust is earned based on the historical interaction. There could be something that you and I could do together. Like I'm a businessman, right? So there's something that you and I can do together as business, and you earn my trust, and I earn your trust by the way I conduct myself with the business.
Well, we
But
may be
what
able
I'm
to do
saying
that
is,
on an individual level, but on a
no, I'm
societal
just using it
level,
as an example. I'm
no,
just
I
using
see.
it as
Yeah,
an
but that
right. And
you're using an individual example. On a societal
what
example,
I'm
we'll
using.
never be able to trust each other because that's against natural order.
But
That's the thing.
there's some deals that have been made by people that they have held and some that they have not. I'm just stating that the deals for us, we never get those deals. So it has to be earned no matter what it is. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't trust anybody or we should. But history teaches us that we shouldn't just walk in with no damn step and fetch it, smile on our face like this is going to work for us. That's what I know of black leadership. Of black leadership in America, they convince us that we can trust these people and then they get a benefit, but the people don't. That's all I'm simply saying.
But